Was that a beatdown or was that a beat 'em down? Because, look, I know I've had some things to say about Missouri. And, I got some things to say about Missouri. And I've had some things to say about Texas A&M. And, my God, am I having to say some things about Texas A&M. But you know what this game reminded me of? About the time that Texas A&M went up 34-0 and then 40-7. It reminded me of playing old school NCAA before everybody was online and you could, really play hundreds of thousands of people across college football in a video game that we all love. We all have a friend group, right? And you got a hierarchy in the friend group. Think of the SEC as a friend group. When you play outside the friend group, you might feel bad. You might feel worse. You might feel really good. If you are, let's say, Mississippi State, you go outside the friend group, probably getting your behind kicked, and you really want to know why you're this bad and you're just this bad. If you are Georgia and you're playing outside the friend group, you pretty much win, right? Then you got your partner that's like Missouri. And that partner, well, he been beaten up on the computer for the last 5 years. And the computer can't score on him, can't do nothing against him. He think he all world. No, he been playing that mug on All-American. He ain't playing on Heisman. But you know what? He still think he all world. So you told him, look, dog, I didn't watch you play. Like, I done been a second in the room, and you're not really that good. And they ain't trying to hear that. They trying to say, hey, look, I beat Murray State 51-0. Hey, I beat Buffalo 38-0. I came back to beat Boston College, who was ranked off the strength of beating a really terrible Florida State team. And I survived overtime against blessed Lord Vanderbilt. I'm undefeated. So come back with a warrant. And then you had that partner in the friend group who ain't as good as Georgia or Alabama, but he ain't as bad as Mississippi State. And he said, enough is enough. We got to school this man right quick, fast, and in a hurry. And that is what happened with A&M in Missouri today. They was whooping Missouri up one side and down the other from the jump, my dude. Like, there is no room left for Missouri to claim a top 10 ranking after this. If anything, we got to start talking about A&M as being in that conversation to make the college football playoff off the strength of what Notre Dame may do, although that loss to Northern Illinois still looks really, really bad for them, and the loss to Notre Dame don't look great for A&M. Then you got to take into account what had Missouri done. Not a whole hell of a lot. Boston College is no longer ranked, you know what I'm saying? Also, Northern Illinois, no longer ranked, you know what I'm saying? And then Vanderbilt. Well, they probably going to get pants by Alabama just later this afternoon, but not before the Paper Tigers got pants and pasted by good boy Twitter, by the folks whose mascot is a damn collie. Not a bulldog, not a cat, a good boy. You got beat down by a good boy. And on the straight, my goodness, Conor Weigman shows up first time after Marcel Reed goes 3-0, and we go, okay, maybe now ain't the time, Colin, to make sure that everybody gets to play quarterback, because last time we saw Conor against Notre Dame, it wasn't really that good against top 25 matchup. And then Marcel, while he ain't been the dude to throw the ball all over the yard, you are winning. And they said, I think we know something you don't. And my God, did they ever? Because Conor Wigman was out there dealing. I'm telling you, the man decided to let everybody know in his return, he is not coming to Halloween as Conor Weigman. No. He is coming as Johnny Manziel, because that's how it felt, man. And while it felt like he was throwing for 500 yards because he was hitting almost everything he attempted, he wasn't really that much. I mean, 18-22 for 276 midway through the fourth quarter. But Le'Veon Moss was out there just letting everybody know what's good and how you going to really get it. Because we talk about 138 on 12 carries here. And not nan word from Brady Cook, from Luther Burden, and barely from Theo Weiss. I was getting a kick out of the Will Lee Theo Weiss beef, because what they had told us was that Theo Weiss got to his hotel room and he saw a note that was allegedly from cornerback Will Lee, nicknamed the Blanket, with a blanket. And then Theo Weiss is Theo Weiss, to the heart with that dude. I know that dude since high school, and Theo been the same dude everywhere he goes. He's cold. He's going to be a really great NFL wideout. You just wait on it. But he wore the blanket. And I'm going, all right, I'm here for this. I like this noise. Old school Big 12 matchup between a couple teams that can't win no Big 12 championship and then run to the SEC like they could do something. And here we are talking about ampersand U making Missouri back into the journalism school that we all think it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the J school up there. And they look like that today. Could you write this off as one bad game? Yeah, but if you looked at the previous results, it's not unpredictable. And A&M, who I thought had a really good win against an Arkansas team that I think is hard for everybody, now could walk into their game against Texas to end the year with the one loss and with an opportunity to make the college football playoff over Texas's dead body. We don't expect Texas to lose up until then. If you're just taking it on what it is, like I'm not happy about what OU Texas might bring for me, but I'm also not an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've seen Texas and I've seen Oklahoma. Texas, by all accounts, should win that football game, but there isn't a football game that I don't think Texas should win should lose this year. Even when they got to welcome Georgia to the house the week after they play in the Cotton Bowl in what is one of the 3 best rivalry games ever. Like, the Red River Shootout to the heart, man. It resonates. It resonates like Ohio State and Michigan resonates. And it resonates like Texas A&M. If I had to pick one game that I wanted to go to outside of any OU game, outside of any other sport, it would be Texas A&M, because they absolutely positively hate each other. And I love watching 2 programs that hate each other when I ain't a part of it, because I get to be like, ooh, I get to be the neutral observer. This is a lot more fun than anything else I might want to do, because when I've got my feelings in it, it ain't fun. It ain't fun. Every year, I got to go check my blood pressure, and I got to go see if I'm okay because of whatever the hell happened in OU Texas, whether we got beat down 49-0 or I see Dylan Gabriel march Oklahoma down the field and find Nick Anderson standing back there in the end zone like he's been there the whole time to beat Texas. That said, what I was more impressed with A&M in this game, 41-7, is the 7 points that they allowed to Missouri, because it was an offense that needed to get going quick, fast, and in a hurry, and they knew that because Missouri said, we win the toss, we want the ball. So they get hosed on the first series, and a pass interference call was picked up that should have never been picked up. It was pass interference. And then from there, it was just a series of events that were not going Missouri's way. And I got to tell you, man, I was getting a kick out of watching how this was falling apart, because the pass interference leads to an opening TD for A&M. They're 7-0. Then they score on their next possession, and their next possession, and their next possession. And I'm watching Conor Wigman, saying, don't call it a comeback. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just dealing. And then I see Brady Cook overthrows Theo Weiss for what would have been 6. And then we got a 75-yard TD that was called back on an illegal man downfield. Then we get a delay of game, and by that time, Missouri is 0 for 3 on third down, and we're just seeing A&M continue to throttle down offensively and defensively, putting Brady Cook on the ground 5 times in fewer than 4 quarters of football. Like, I want to say he got the 5th sack in the third quarter of Brady Cook in that game, and held them to just 41, I think it was 41 rush yards all day. They run the ball particularly well at all. They got to move the ball down the field vertically, but it was more impressive to me that Texas A&M could keep a lid on that Missouri offense like they did. Seeing Nick Scorton go win himself first round selection in this game, among other games, because he's been a known dude on the edge for some time, but it's still nice to see. I'm also looking at an A&M program that was balanced and still put up 500 yards of offense, had over 20 first downs, 7 of 11 on third down to holding, for instance, Missouri 3 to 11 on third down. Never needed to attempt a fourth down to go for it. None of that, man. And protected the quarterback. Like, that was impressive to see. Conor Wigman could go through each one of his reads and still throw the check down and still manage to get good yardage for it and keep the clock going when they weren't running, like a jet motion out of bounds. I don't really like that play. And anytime I get to see Terry Busey go both ways, I'm going to watch that. I love how we're getting into, we got athletes that have some endurance and have some stamina. Let's let them go both ways. See what Travis Hunter is doing at Colorado. Let's see if we can't get that going for us as well. Bottom line here is A&M's schedule sets up for it to be again, them to go on a tear now. Because after this beat them down of a top 10 team, they're first against a top 10 program since beating LSU in 2022. By the way, they beat 2 top 10 programs and still went 5-7 that year. Wild year for Jimbo Fisher over there. They got on the rest of their schedule Mississippi State, which is basically a G5 program. LSU, which I think they can win. South Carolina, tough, but I think they can win. New Mexico State, you paid for that game, you better win it. Auburn, they're just bad, guys. And then Texas, right? So again, could be a one-loss team going into November 30th when they get to welcome the Longhorns into Kyle Field, which is going to be, I got to believe, one of the best games on the schedule all year because we haven't seen this game played. These are 2 programs that had vowed never to play again because they hate each other. And then the commissioner of the SEC was like, hey, yeah, so I'm going to make y'all do that. This while Jimbo Fisher got to watch what Mike Elko is doing with A&M the year after he gets fired and they paid him $76 million to go away. I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but Jimbo Fisher's out here on the radio talking about what he doesn't like about college football. And like most old coaches that don't want to work anymore, he's saying, we need a commissioner. We need somebody to rein in the rules. We need a salary cap across the board. We need to really get down on tampering. It sounds like you just a loser with that one, dog. Like, I don't hear Ryan Day yelling about tampering. I don't hear Dan Lanning yelling about tampering. I don't hear Kirby Smart yelling about tampering. I don't hear Kalen DeBoer yelling about tampering. And you know what? He's right about the NIL regulation, but we've been saying that. That's not a new take. The problem is we don't have anybody with the sway or the courage to try to force that thing through that doesn't wear a judge's robe. And that's where it's really going to start to get hard to move is when we start making laws for this stuff. Because the bylaws are one thing. If you get caught, probably something that's going to happen to you. But right now, it is the Wild West, and we playing for championships. So these are the rules or the lack thereof. Go win. And if you can't go win, do what Jimbo Fisher is doing. Go talk about why you can't win on the radio. Deuces.